I'm Dan Richards, talking with Ellen Bessner, partner in the Toronto law firm Babin Bessner Spry, a leader in the area of regulatory and litigation defense for financial advisors. And Ellen, this is one of a number of conversations we're having. I want to talk about the whole area of fee transparency. Why has this become such a big issue for regulators?
So there is a huge stress on regulators by both investors and, in fact, by other regulators in other countries to step up the obligations that financial advisors or investment advisors have to clients. And part of that stepping up is transparency in everything they do. And part of that, of course, is the fees. Because it's rarely clear to investors what exactly they're paying if there's embedded fees in the product, trailer fees, etc. Of course, if you're on the IROC side and you're investing only in stocks, you get a trade confirmation, it couldn't be clearer. If you're fee-based on IROC or MFDA, then there should be a discussion not just of percentage, but of actual sums. Easy to make clear.
Now, so let's talk a little bit about why just saying you're paying an annual fee of 2%, let's say, in a fee-based account, why that isn't sufficient.
So it's not sufficient because what you need to do with clients is bridge the gap in terms of explaining to them when they don't really understand, when it's not crystal clear to them. And you want to make sure that you bridge the gap in all of your communications to clients. So when you say 2% or 1% or whatever it is, it sounds like almost nothing. It sounds like chicken feed. It's not necessarily chicken feed. It's a number, it's a dollar figure. It's the same thing with risks. When you talk to your clients about risks, if you speak in percentages, it's much less real to them than a dollar figure.
I was talking to a financial advisor who's in a fee-based account, and he said, look, my client, they see every quarter, there's a dollar amount that's withdrawn from their account that goes, that's the fee that we've agreed to. Why should I have to have a conversation or discussion above and beyond that? It's clear and it's evident in their statement. They can see the withdrawal.
And that's absolutely true if the client opens their statement and if the client understands their statement sufficiently to pull that piece out of the statement. And many clients are not necessarily sophisticated enough, and what the regulators are worried about is particularly the senior and unsophisticated clients. So those are two categories, the senior clients and others who are unsophisticated, actually being able to follow the statements and understand precisely how much they are paying.
So we do have, there's been a lot of attention to the new CRM rules, and as part of that, clients get an annual letter that summarizes how much they've paid. And is that going to address that issue of fee transparency?
Here's the issue with clients. Clients don't necessarily open their mail, they don't necessarily read their mail, and they don't necessarily pay any attention. So I think that the more paper you throw at clients is not going to make a huge difference. I think that engaging clients is what you want to do as an advisor, regardless of what the regulations say. Because we're talking about risk here to the advisor. I am, right? That's my whole concern. Right. What is the risk to the advisor? When a client wakes up and they said, I paid how much for what? Or I lost money in my account, but my advisor made money personally. If they wake up to that and they didn't realize it before, that's the risk to the advisor. That's when they complain to the regulator, and that's when they sue them. So if you can avoid that by being transparent and clear and making sure you're engaging the client in everything you do, not just the fees, then you're going to be reducing your risk substantially.
So on the issue of minimizing the risk, you can never eliminate it entirely, but minimizing the risk of clients coming back and saying, I didn't understand how much I paid for what I was doing. So what you're suggesting is that above and beyond all of the written documentation and the statements and everything else, that the advisor actually needs to have an explicit conversation with the client where they actually identify a dollar amount. Is that what I'm to understand?
I think that's a way to reduce your risk. It's beyond what the regulators require, but I think it's a much more important piece than any piece of paper you could be delivering to your client.
And if an advisor wants to really close the loop, could they then get the client to actually sign something to the effect that they, in fact, had a conversation on a broad range of issues, one of which was the fees that they paid in the last year?
So getting the client's signature is, I think, sometimes overrated, because if you're going to give the client a stack of documents and say, sign here, sign here, sign here, and you're not going to engage the client, then the signature is not going to be meaningful. The client is then going to appear before the judge or the regulator and say, I didn't know what I was signing. And if they're believed, it's not very useful to you. But if you can prove that indeed you had a discussion with the client, and here's the proof they signed off, it's only part of the package, then it's very powerful.
Anecdotally, talking to some advisors, I'm starting to hear cases where advisors, when you mention elderly clients, the children of their elderly clients start getting involved and bringing up issues related to, my parents paid so-and-so, they had no idea. So it's not the clients that are raising the issue, it's their heirs, their children.
That's exactly right. It's the successors who will be suing in respect of senior clients when they say, oh, the money I was supposed to receive has, you've lost money in the account, and yet how much money were you making on that fee-based and commission? And the truth of the matter is, advisors are permitted to make money even if the account lost money, because you're not guarantors of returns.
Right. Ellen, thanks for taking the time today to talk.
Thank you.